All right, welcome everyone. It's lovely to have you joining us today. If you're just joining us, my name's Erin, and I'm going to be your host today. We've also got a lovely instructor, Houston, joining us. He's going to walk you through a bit of an exercise a little bit later on. But this is the U at UCalgary presentation for Haskayne School of Business. Really excited to have you here. We are hoping that you're actually going to get some time to interact with each other and meet some of your future classmates. So this is kind of your opportunity to do that, so that when you come to campus in September, you hopefully have a friendly face waiting for you. To start that, I would like to ask everyone who's comfortable to just throw in the chat where you're joining us from, because I understand that we are having some students here from all over the world. So let's see where you're all joining us from. I'd love to see that. Oh my goodness, we've got Dubai and India and Bangladesh, France, Calgary, awesome, BC, Bahamas, oh, you're in a much nicer climate. London, okay. See, now we have friends all over. We can come and visit you guys. That's awesome. Welcome. Thank you for putting that in here. The other thing too that I just wanted to touch on before we get started is there is a Q&A feature. But having said that, we were hoping to kind of wait until we were closer to the end of the presentation, just because hopefully we're going to answer some of your questions first, but we will definitely have a Q&A section at the end. So that will still be something that we can cover a little bit later on. So we'll invite you to either use the Q&A feature within Zoom if you're comfortable with that, or you can actually raise your hand and ask your question out loud if you would like. But again, that part will definitely be later on. The Q&A, of course, is more like a chat feature, so you can use that even kind of during the presentation, but just know that we may not get to it right away just because we're presenting. So awesome. All right. So with that in mind, we're going to get started. Just seeing if anyone's in the waiting room. There's a couple more in the waiting room, just bringing them in. All righty. Here we are. So let's get started. Welcome to Haskayne School of Business. Like I said, this is our U at UCalgary presentation. And this is kind of what we're hoping to cover with you guys today. We only have an hour with you, so I'll try to talk fast so that Houston can have the floor. But essentially, we will do a territorial acknowledgement for the land that we are meeting on today. Even though it's a virtual space, we are still here on the territory of Calgary or Mohkinstsis. And then we are going to do a design your life exercise. So that's when our instructor Houston is going to take over, and you all lucky people are going to get an introduction to a course that we are just developing still, and it's going to be presented in the fall for the very first time. We're really excited. So Houston's going to walk you through that shortly. And then just talking about some things to get excited about. So I'll go over some pieces of your academic life, some extracurriculars you might want to think about, just some features for Haskayne that you are going to experience when you join us in September. A couple of resources for you to be aware of, and then of course the Q&A section for you guys to have your say. So with that in mind, I'm going to read our territorial acknowledgement. You'll hear this a lot once you join us, because whenever we do meetings, a lot of times we like to start with this. So the University of Calgary, located in the heart of Southern Alberta, both acknowledges and pays tribute to the traditional territories of the peoples of Treaty 7, which include the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bears Paw, and Goodstoney First Nation. The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. The University of Calgary is situated on land northwest of where the Bow River meets the Elbow River, a site traditionally known as Mohkinstsis, as I mentioned earlier, to the Blackfoot, Wichita, to the Stoney Nakoda, and Goodstoney to the Tsuut'ina. On this land and in this place, we strive to learn together, walk together, and grow together in a good way. So thank you for joining me on that. It's an important piece for us to really acknowledge where we are meeting and to just situate it a little bit more. All right, so with that, I am going to actually turn it over to our instructor, Houston. He is a senior instructor, and he primarily instructs in the area of entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainable development. He is our superstar for this particular, I guess, area of teaching, award-winning as well. And yes, and our creator of this presentation had to put in the point that he's just all around a great guy. So I'd love to introduce him without further ado. Houston, I'm going to unshare my screen here so that you can bring up your slide deck.
Excellent. Thanks, Erin. Good morning, everyone, or this might be some afternoon or late evening for some of you. I'm excited to walk you through this this presentation of that I'm going to do. I would definitely like to give a shout out to anybody who has got their camera on. So William and Elisa, bravo, because that's and there's somebody who's Haskayne, not sure your actual name, but if your name is Haskayne, that's kind of cool. And then Cheyenne. Cheyenne, probably cannot pronounce that wrong, but thank you. If you can turn on your cameras and you feel comfortable, great. If not, can I just get a thumbs up from those people? Do you see my presentation right now? Awesome. Thank you, William. All right. So, excuse me. So what I've been teaching entrepreneurial thinking for the last kind of 9-10 years here at Haskayne, but more of a senior course that a lot of you will have to take called NT 317, where you take your skills of entrepreneurial thinking and have to start a new startup that's innovative and learn how to pitch and create a business model. But what I was reflecting on was how first-year students actually could really use these skills, because I'm sure a lot of you are coming to Haskayne with some expectations that maybe were driven by your parents or your personal beliefs or your society, the community around that going to business is a good idea. Maybe you were told you need to become an accountant, or you really do want to become an accountant. And so what we've realized is that there's a lot of opportunities here at Haskayne for you, and probably a lot of them that you're not even aware of, that you could go and work with your BCom. And so using something called design thinking, which is a methodology of problem solving, there's a really cool approach to designing your life, because it's not as static as maybe the Netflix shows or social media tell you. It's not that you just kind of go through university, you get a job, and that's what you do. You know, that might have happened for my parents' generation, maybe a bit of your parents, but really the likelihood is you're going to change your job and your career a lot. And what we want to ensure is that you get the most out of Haskayne and develop the skills that no matter what you do, or if you change something, you can adapt, because the world is crazy right now. There's so many cool things. And so what we're trying to do is get you to question some of your values in this course. What do you really value in life? You know, maybe some of you really want to go and work for a major large company downtown in one of the high-rise buildings and go becoming a consultant or an accountant or a banker or something, or go work in marketing. You know, maybe some of you want to start your own companies, like you have some concept, but that's been shaped a lot by maybe your friends, your family, some of the expectations that you've had put on you. And so the university, when you come here, allows you to question some of that. And this course is really allowing you to kind of have the freedom to say, what if I didn't become an accountant, or what if I did go in this different direction? And using design thinking or entrepreneurial thinking to actually design your own life rather than designing a company or a new startup. Because we have a lot of dysfunctional beliefs when we come into kind of adulthood, when we transition out of kind of that high school level and we start to become more accountable for our own direction of life. We have this feeling like failure is bad, it's dirty. But actually the great lessons we learn in life usually come from our failures. If you think about how often you fell off your bike when you were learning, you know, those were all failures that made you better and better. And in business, there's methodologies that we'll learn about how to fail quickly and learn from it. Plus, or this next one is career is happiness, is that, I find that it's not actually the job title that makes you happy. You might strive to be that in your life and you have that goal, but happiness is far more complex, and it comes from the community you've created, the challenges you've created, the journey that you're on, a lot of more kind of subtle things, rather than just saying, now I'm an accountant, I need to be happy. That sometimes might not be the best recipe for happiness for everyone. I'm sure there's people out there that when they become an accountant, they are, and I'm just picking on accountants because the majority of our students end up with an accounting kind of major or focus. So I'm just doing that as an example of nothing against accountants. So we judge our life by the outcome of our GPA, our grades. And I'm sure a lot of you are really high performing. You're probably doing very well in high school. And so maybe you're an A student in your high school, and you feel like you really kind of got the world by its tail, and you know that you're a pretty smart person. When you come to Haskayne, now you've got all these people who are A students, and we can't give out A's to everyone. So there's a distribution where some people are going to get the first C or the first B that maybe they've ever had. And that becomes, really, really hard for them mentally, and they question things. And so one of the things that in this class we're going to talk about is the intrinsic motivation to learn rather than the extrinsic reward of getting a good mark. Good marks are great. I encourage it. You got to work as hard as you can, but you got to recognize that university is going to challenge you. There's going to be certain courses or instructors that you just don't vibe with, that you're just like, I don't really understand them. I don't really get this. This is not what I like. It's not the way I learn. And so you might not perform as well because you have to take that class. And so you've got to learn how to get through those. And realize that your GPA is not really who you are. It's a component of what you've accomplished. So it's how you deal with those opportunities. And then this last one is more philosophically, that work is not supposed to be enjoyable, and that's why it's called work. I question this because I love my job. It's taken a while for me to find what that is. But if you're doing something for the majority of your time awake, right? You get up at 7 in the morning, you go to work at 8 and you punch out at 5 or 6. The majority of the sunlight hours you're spent at work. If you're not enjoying that, I think we need to question, like, what's wrong with that? I mean, there's going to be days where you just don't enjoy, you're not feeling well, or you're doing something at work you don't like. We all get good and bad days, but overall, if you're not questioning, or if you're not feeling like you enjoy what you're doing, you're being challenged, you're around good people, then we need to really kind of shape that dysfunctional belief away and question it. So this class is really going to address kind of these ideas of dysfunctional beliefs. In the chat, does anybody know what this acronym means? VUCA? Chat, no one, not a big deal. I will jump right into it. So I'm sure some of you are in the world of chat GPT, AI. Like, the world is changing pretty cool, like crypto, like Web3, metaverse, all these things. Like, I'm passionate about and seeing how it's impacting education. But what VUCA stands for is this idea that your world, opposed to when I was your age, didn't have these pressures. So volatility, like the change of things in the marketplace, whether it's inflation, whether it's like Bitcoin and all the cryptos coming on board, all the challenges around, COVID, all these things are causing volatility in the marketplace, but also in just the way businesses have to react. Uncertainty. There's a huge level of uncertainty of what's going to happen, whether it's the conflict in Ukraine, whether it's climate change. All these things are causing a lot of uncertainty of what the world will look like in the future. Complexity, the change of technology. Like, I'm a huge fan of AI, and I'm using, an AI-driven bot to be able to develop my PowerPoints now. I use ChatGPT a lot. Some of our instructors are really having a hard time because their assignments are outdated, and students can type in the question into ChatGPT and get the answers. And so it's evolving, the complexity. We've got to figure out how to harness that power in order to better our world and better our education system, rather than run away from it. Then ambiguous. What does the future look like? We don't know. And so it's a lot harder when you can't use the past to predict the future, or what we call forecasting. So this is the world that you're graduating into. So the skill sets that you need to be able to handle challenges like climate change. And here in Alberta and BC, we've been ravaged with forest fires due to droughts and heat waves that we've had. I'm passionate about our food system. And so, we see massive deforestation, huge areas of the rainforest that are getting chopped down for whether it's palm oil or cattle grazing. But then all the topsoil is getting destroyed. So how are we going to feed the future? So these problems like this are huge challenges. We have a bigger disparity between the rich and the poor. And the rich are getting richer and the poor are really struggling. Especially with inflation. I'm not sure where you are in your world, but inflation is a major thing here in North America. It becomes harder and harder when you go to McDonald's. You used to get a burger for a couple bucks, and now you're, spending $10 for a burger. So how do you afford that? And then this one is around equity, diversion, and inclusion. The people who are sometimes steering the ship and making decisions are a very specific group of people, usually older, white, gray-haired dudes. And these people have a different approach to maybe people with a different background: equity, diversion, inclusion, Indigenous relations, as we heard at the beginning. And so we're bringing in all these complexities into our conversations of business, as well as how do you as an individual result to it. And so a huge mountain bike fan and failure. But this image of like crashing is this idea that businesses that do not address these challenges are going to have a huge issue in the future. And they need business leaders to be able to handle things like climate change, like weapons of mass destruction, biodiversity, extreme weather. These things were not the same long-term risks that I had to deal with when I was your age. It was very different and kind of vanilla. So the complexity of what it is makes it exciting as well, because there's so many opportunities for innovation, whether it's technology or energy transition or solar or whatever it might be. There's some really cool opportunities, but we need to develop a new way of looking at the world rather than just focusing on the first one of like, let's make money. We need to figure out, about a purpose of business doing good, about creating prosperity with friends and people, and using the planet as a partner, not just as our raw materials that we go throw all the waste into a landfill. And so we need to be thinking of the system more than we think of individual parts. And so what you're going to learn in this class is 7 skills. First, you're going to learn how, and these are all driven towards you. You're going to learn how to problem solve. So let's say you want to become an accountant, but you're not sure the first step. Who should you go? Should you go do an internship? So what courses should you take? All these different things. So we'll work through that. We're going to learn how to be creative with very limited means, because you only have so much time in the day. You only have so many resources. You're going to be comfortable with the fact that you might not have the ultimate answer. You're going to learn to fail and learn from those, but to have small calculated risks. You're going to learn to be empathetic and take perspectives of others, and then respond to feedback, because people are going to give you a lot of information. You're going to have second, third year students. Oh, definitely take that class. Oh, don't take that class. That instructor's horrible. Take this class. Join that group. And you got to realize that all that feedback comes from different worldviews, different experiences. So you can't just respond to everybody and go, okay, I'm definitely going to take that class because so-and-so likes it and they're a friend of mine. You've got to think about your own learning style, what you're accomplishing, what their goals were. Were they just trying to get through the university with the least amount of work, or were they trying to get through university and get the most experience? And then finally, you're going to have to work at a lot of teams. And we're going to do a quick exercise here where you'll be put into a team. And so learning how to work with certain personalities that are very strong, maybe you don't get along with, but you have to accomplish a goal. And so these are the types of things this class is going to be focusing on. And while most business schools do not make students take entrepreneurial thinking classes as a mandatory course, meaning you have to take it, it's an option. We at the University of Calgary at Haskayne require all of our undergrads, our Masters of Business, MBAs, and Executive MBAs to take these types of courses, because we see it so essential. So rather than just developing managerial thinking skills, meaning you can go into a big business and work, you can now have this other side of entrepreneurial thinking. And so all of our students get to go through these skills and develop system leadership, meaning that no matter what you do in your life, you're going to have these essential business skills. And so in business, we have this kind of skill set of managerial thinking that you're coming from high school with, and maybe you've been exposed to innovation and entrepreneurship a bit. Typically, universities like really focus on that one side, that managerial side, like how do you build financial models on spreadsheets? How do you do a marketing plan? Like very tactical things. But those are all the things that AI is doing. So if you can program something in a spreadsheet, AI is already doing it. So we have to recognize that if we're only focused on the left-hand side of managerial thinking, those are going to become redundant and AI is going to be operating it. You want to be successful in business, it's this side that you have to focus on, because currently the AI is not able to do things at this level. Eventually it might, but with where we're at now, it's really the things that we can program and it can manage and it can learn from the internet, where it can't learn things like empathy, taking perspective and things like that. At least what I'm aware of. I'm sure, it will get there. But this is where I think if you want to be successful in business, the right-hand side is what you need to focus on. And so the way I teach is I don't believe in memorizing and dumping, meaning I make students read a textbook and you've got to write a 200, multiple choice exam and dump all that information. I think that with the world of our shiny things in our phones, you've got all that information at your fingertips. So why make you memorize stuff that you already have available? So I believe in experiential learning. So it's called legitimate peripheral participation, basically meaning you've got to learn to do this. If you want to ride a bike, don't read a textbook and write a bunch of multiple choice on it. Go get on a bike and fall off of it safely. And so the thing that we're going to learn today quickly is this idea of design thinking. And so some of you might be exposed to it, but it's a very popular way of solving problems. And societal problems, but I'm using it to actually solve your problems, which is what do you want to do in the future? So the 5 steps: first, you become empathetic. What does it feel like to be the user of it? And then this, so for example, the exercise you're going to be doing is you're going to come to university and everybody has a backpack on their back. And usually they're not perfect. There's problems with them. They're kind of not ideal for each student, but they're very generic. They're very basically choose your color and it has a couple zippers and pouches. And when I look around, I'm like, those don't really work for everybody. So what is it like to be empathetic for students at the university? Then you kind of define the problem. What is the problem that you really are trying to solve? Is it trying to carry more things? Is it that you wish it had the ability to charge your laptops and your cell phones? Is it that you wish it was able to, speak to you, that it has some remote ability, that it has more tech in it? So what's that problem? Then step 3 is, once you've defined that problem, how do you brainstorm? Like, what do you brainstorm? What are all the crazy ideas that you could incorporate into a backpack? And then once you kind of get those solutions, then what would that prototype look like? Messy, drawn, kind of like pasted together with some images, but it's some visual representation of that. And then you take that prototype and you go show it to some students and you're like, hey, I've got this crazy idea of this backpack. What do you think of that? And they're like, oh, that's awesome, except I need this. And I wish it did that. And, how much is it? And things like that. So then you can go back and go through this quickly. So you don't just go into your basement and make this really expensive backpack and then you bring it out to the world and then they're like, no one buys it, because it hasn't been tested with the users, kind of beta testing. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to put you into teams right now, and there's 50 of you. So we'll do 10 teams. So if we could, Erin, have 10 teams.
All righty, you got it.
And then I'm going to put in the chat a site called Miro. So if you could click on that link, stay on Zoom, but click on that link and you should see a board that allows you to navigate. So I'm just going to share what it looks like to navigate this exercise. And so you should be able to go in and see what this looks like and get on it. William, you're the only person I can see a face of. Sorry, Elisa's there too. Can you get onto the link? Does the link work? Thumbs up. Alisa, do you see it? Yep, I see some nodding. Okay, awesome. So you should be able to see what I'm showing here. Move the mouse around.
Yes, I can see it perfectly. Yes, the link is working.
Awesome. Okay, so you should be able to go on this and see it. Aaron, are you seeing my Zoom or my the Miro board right now?
Absolutely, you bet. I
Okay.
can see it clearly.
And so you can zoom in and you can see on the side here, there's team 1, team 2, and if you scroll down, if you just hold the mouse button down, 3, 4, 5, and there's 11 teams, and there's going to be 10 of you. So once you get into your breakout rooms, I'm going to put you into a breakout room in Zoom, and say you're in breakout room 4, you'd navigate down to room 4, and you'll see that there's 4 or 5 sections. There's empathy, define the problem, brainstorm ideas, prototype solution, and test with user. And so we're going to go through this quite rapidly. And so when I, excuse me, when I put you into your breakout rooms, I want you to navigate. So again, if you're in Zoom room 5, go down to 5, and then quickly introduce yourself to your peers. Say, hi, I'm William, I'm from Calgary. And then I'm going to give you a challenge. And that challenge is going to be to design a backpack that is the ultimate backpack. And so the first step, and you're only going to give a couple minutes for this, so it's going to feel rushed, and it's designed to feel rushed, guys. So quickly, as soon as you get in your group, start thinking about what sucks about backpacks. What are all the horrible things, what we call pain points? And in the first Post-it note, the blue one, you're just going to, someone can type them in. You know, too expensive, too boring, too heavy, too not tech enough, you know, doesn't carry everything I want it to, all those other things. Wish it had lights on it, or it doesn't, it's not safe, it should have bear spray on it, or whatever it is. And then once you've done that, in a couple of minutes, then you're going to say, what's the problem we're solving? Well, we're going to solve the technology. We're going to make the ultimate technology backpack so that it is basically a walking power source that allows you to be the ultimate student. And then on the brainstorm ideas one, you're going to start brainstorming as many ideas that could be fun. Like maybe it's got a built-in computer in it, or solar panels on it, or, you know, has some ability to communicate with ChatGPT, so it's instantly telling you what's going on in the world, or whatever, you know. So ideate as many things as you can. And then if you can, prototype a solution. So what would this thing potentially look like? You know, could you take some images from the internet and copy and paste them onto this part of the Miro board? And then finally, we'll come back. And so the fifth one, test your solution, we're going to do that in class, like when I bring you back to the main group. So it's 9:30 now. I'm going to give you 15 minutes to work through this. I will be talking to you via chat in the Miro board. So again, navigate yourself to the slide and the team number. And so Aaron, if you wouldn't mind launching them into their teams, you should be able to navigate yourself to your slide.
Okay, great. Thanks, Houston. I am going to send you into breakout rooms. You'll get an invite that says, you know, join the room. So I'm going to do that now, and then off you'll go.
So that's business for you. So thank you for being flexible. I think the point that I'm trying to get out of this brief exercise is that you have a lot of opportunity to solve problems in business, to make money. And to do that, you have to start with empathy. And so I was trying to pick something that is accessible to you. You know, you are the users of backpacks a lot. But what you probably noticed in your teams was that there's a dynamic of like, someone's like, I don't like this in my backpack, and someone else is like, I actually do like that. And so you instantly see that there's a variety of that. And so what I'm going to just do is just ask in the chat for those people who are taking notes, can you please just type down, and anyone can do this, it doesn't have to just be the people, what were some major problems or pain points that you see in backpacks? Like when you go to the store and you're like, oh, I just can't find it. What are the pain points that you see in backpacks? If you have an idea, type it into the chat. I would appreciate that. If you want to unmute and you feel like you can do it, too bulky, awesome, ugly, love it, Chloe, heavy, good, lack of diversity for different body types, awesome, love that, Vanessa, the equity, diversion, and inclusion, easy to stain, your back sweats, yeah, exactly, you got a nice shirt on and now so you got this big mark down the back. Sustainability, the weak points, yep, they just fall apart, you know, needs a charger to keep people going. Sustainability, not social enough. Teresa, can you expand on what do you mean by not social enough? I'd love to explore that. Easy access, expensive, yeah, they are. They can be very expensive. Weakness in the arms, you know, resistance to wet weather, yeah. So you guys are capturing a lot of this ideas of problems, and this is what in business, if you can figure out and be empathy with your user, you know, that there's so much cool things you can do to innovate in this space. And you see it sometimes that companies come out and you're just like, wow, they really solved that problem way better than everyone else. Poor weight distribution. Okay, so Teresa says, like adding interactive functions such as voice assistants. Love that. You know, with the way technology is going, you know, Siri, you go home and you can ask it to do anything, or Google TV or whatever. You know, why can't we have our technology? So I'm thinking like wearable technology. I mountain bike ride, and so I've got all these, when I race, I've got all this technology all over me that's feeding me my heart rate, my amount of watts I'm putting into my bike, and my cadence, and so all that stuff's coming into me and is now like literally into my head, and I know what's going on. And so wearable tech, why can't our backpack be wearable tech? So out of curiosity, did anyone start to prototype or think about what the solution would look like or could be? Like, what would some features be? You know, so in the chat again, could you just type out a few features that you think a cool backpack would have? You know, so if we could get a couple of those, then we'll wrap this exercise. Thicker foam padding, yeah, awesome. Unibody design to decrease weak points, awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Teresa, yes, such as degradable and recyclable materials. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Patagonia, the company, and they use a lot of that stuff. Chargers on the straps, yeah, so maybe you have USBs that can plug in and be able to charge that. There's flexible solar panels now that are like literally you can scrumple them up into a ball. So maybe the back top could be solar panels that are constantly charging a power pack for you, because how many of us have our phones die when we're wandering around? And it's like, you know, and you have remote charging where chargerless charging where you can just lay it on there or slide it in and it's charging. We drew a backpack. Will be portable chargers and come out at the bottom of the backpack. I love that, Tyra. So thanks for that. I really appreciate it. And so the idea here, add liquid repellent straps to avoid stains. Fantastic. So well done, everyone. You jumped into this. So I'm just going to kind of wrap this up. And what the goal of design thinking is you don't need to spend forever and have the ultimate design before you go and test it. With rapid prototyping, 3D models, you know, you can go onto any free 3D programming thing on the internet, like Google SketchUp, and you can design something and you can go take it to your friends or to your users and say, what do you think of this? And it costs you nothing. And so we use that with product design all the time and innovation. My thought is, and what I'm doing in this class is we need to use that same approach to designing our life, because our life needs to be, it's full of complexities, there's pain points, there's challenges, and you have the opportunity to actually design your life in this class. And we're going to design what's called an Odyssey plan. And so you're going to go out and you're going to actually figure out what if say like going back to the accountant, say you do want to be an accountant, what are the next steps? What are the courses you should take? What are the clubs you can be part of? What are the case competitions you can do? What are the major companies? And you're going to go explore that Odyssey path. But then let's say AI eliminates all accounting jobs. You're going to need to go and design an Odyssey plan if accounting doesn't exist. What happens if accounting completely disappears from, they're no longer hiring accountants? So you'll develop a second Odyssey plan of like, okay, what's my backup if I don't want to be an accountant, and go and explore that. Maybe it's international business or investing or marketing. And then your third Odyssey plan is if money was no object, you had bank like stacks and stacks of bills and you have no problem with money. What would you do with your life if you had no money? And maybe some of you are like, oh, I'd sit at home and play, video games all the time. But really, when we look deeper, it's like you're going to want to do something. What would you do with your time during the day, to really make yourself happy? And by going through these three Odyssey plans, you're going to be able to really explore what happiness is, what your values are, and then Haskayne can help craft that path for you, that journey for you. And so at university, we need to look, and this is on Haskayne, we need to look at what we call the value proposition, meaning you're our customers, students, and I look at you as my partners. You need to tell me, like, this is what I want to learn, this is what I want to do. And so universities that do not address these critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, like the skills that I listed before, are going to go the way of the dodo bird. One of the most brilliant professors out of Harvard named Clayton Christensen, he's kind of the innovation guru. He passed away a few years ago. He predicts that the majority, over half of the colleges or universities, are going to go bankrupt, because you can go onto LinkedIn Learning or Mastercraft or Google, Microsoft. They all have these different ways of learning. And you can now, using like Web 3.0, you can start to, or some of the blockchain tech, you can start to say, hey, I took this course on this, I took this course on this, and go to your company. And so the world of education is changing. And so when you come to university, I really want you to think about this idea that you're here to create the best experience for yourself. But to do that, you need to step out of your comfort zone. And this class will give you some mentors, some students who are in third or fourth year, who will tell you, hey, if you really love, case competitions and pitching, here, go do JDC West. Or if you love, entrepreneurship or sustainability and social entrepreneurship, making the world a better place, go into Enactus. Or if you're interested in becoming a leader of our students union, this is the path you go on. There's so many cool clubs, like you can go and build a race car, a solar race car with the Schulich School of Engineering students. You can go traveling around the world. So the ability to use this time in your life productively is up to you. You need to become accountable for that. And we're going to help navigate that with you. So I'm just going to leave this idea with you, and I'm going to turn it over because I know I'm a bit over time. The school here, Haskayne, is here to help you, but you need to become accountable with what you can do out of it. And it's not just the classes and your grades that are going to be important, but it's what you want to get out of this from an experience. And so I'm now going to stop this presentation. Excuse me. And if anyone wants to chat with me, you can reach out to me anytime. Maybe I'll see some of you next year. But question things, everyone. Like, question why you're coming here. Question why you want to do what you want to do. And this is your time in your life to really dive into your own values. And on that note, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back over to our host, Erin.
Thanks, Houston. That was fantastic. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I was just riveted. Thank you all for participating as well in your groups. I also recognize that we're coming up on time here. So I just want to have a couple last minute pieces before we complete our time with you today. I will say that if you do have questions, feel free to go in the Q&A at this point, because I'm just going to be chatting about kind of things to get excited about moving forward as you're coming in. Of course, my biggest thing to get excited about at this point is Houston's class, because that was awesome. And now I want to take it. So I'm jealous of y'all. But anyways, we will talk about kind of 3 areas of things to get excited about. We've got academic, semi-academic, and then kind of those extracurricular pieces. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but know that we can talk about it much more once you're actually here. But essentially, there are 16 areas of specialized learning within your BCom. So that's kind of concentrations. Houston was touching on a few of them. A fan favorite tends to be accounting, but of course there's 15 other ones, and one of them happens to be that entrepreneurial and innovation area, which you know, has a lot of design thinking in it. Of course, there's as well finance and all of that stuff as well. You don't have to have decided on that yet. You can move into one and then potentially change it after your first year. So don't feel like you have to know all of this right now. Same thing with things like combined degrees, adding a minor, adding an embedded certificate. That stuff can come up later on. I think Houston hit the nail on the head when it's basically like, come figure out what you want to do and what your experience is going to be, and potentially spend that first year really exploring that. I am part of the international exchange team. So if you're thinking about potentially going abroad, we can chat about that when you're here. We also have an honors program, which basically means that you would be doing some research alongside a faculty member that chooses to kind of partner with you on that. And then we have some really incredible experiential learning opportunities. Houston's class is one. But we also have a wilderness retreat, and then something else we like to talk about is the CPMT, which is essentially a student-led investment fund that you actually focus on and are part of kind of the trades that happen with that. So really fantastic opportunities that we hope you start thinking about. The quasi-academic opportunities as well is we do have the co-op program, of course. Which is literally what it sounds like, earn while you learn. We have internships as well, something that you look at usually kind of, you know, end of second year. We've got lecture series, we've got events, of course, lots of industry events that come on campus. We have case competitions, which is when you are presented with a problem, kind of like Houston just mentioned, you're in a group and you get a problem that you have to solve. And there's a certain time limit and you have to work as a team to solve that problem and then present it to, you know, supposedly investors. And there are prizes for those. You can even travel with case competitions. And of course, we do have Haskayne centers and other centers of excellence as well. And then some of the extras or non-academic, you know, they're listed here. I won't go into everything, but essentially there's a variety of different things you can get involved in. Something like 10,000 Coffees is kind of like LinkedIn, but it's only for Haskayne students. So it's a little bit more specialized. It's a smaller community that you're working within. Bold is a really neat initiative where you're basically getting all of your kind of extracurriculars and events and kind of those transferable skills organized in a way that you can then present to employers. So it's a way of kind of tracking those additional networking events that you might attend and community involvement, et cetera, that you can then have in an organized fashion so you can present it to employers when it comes time to do so. So that was very quick, I know, but I did want to be cognizant of your time. But ultimately, I just want you to be aware of kind of the opportunities that we have out here and that you are going to be able to access. I don't, what's happening? What is this? We do have a video, but wait, what? Rex.
Karen, I think there's no sound.
I'm Rex,
Oh,
the UCalgary mascot and #1 Dinos fan. This incoming class is looking dynamite. Hearing dinos is my thing. Without you guys, I'd be a Tyrannosaurus wreck. Best times call for Jurassic measures, so I've got a roarsome challenge just for you. Keep an eye on your inbox. I'll post details shortly. This challenge will be online, not in the field, so you won't have to worry about getting dinosaur. challenge, and you'll enter to win the UCalgary Rex's Challenge Award, valued between $1,000 and $2,500 Canadian dollars. Be sure to watch your email for more instructions after the event.
How very rude of him to interrupt me. I did not know that was coming at all. Anyways, this is a picture of our new building, which we're really excited for you to be having classes in. This is Matheson Hall. I'm in there somewhere. I challenge you to find Erin if you're so inclined. But anyways, I just wanted to mention that in this building and in the adjacent building, Schulich, sorry, not Schulich, what am I saying? Scurfield Hall is our business classes most of the time. We've also got myself as an advisor where you can come and ask questions. We've got the program advising services there where we also do the co-op and the exchange advising. So if that's something that is of interest to you, come and chat with us when you get the chance. We also have career advising services there. So we do actually help you with resume building and navigating kind of the career leader resources, creating crafting your letters, right? Cover letters and all of that. So we are here to help you. We have an academic development specialist as well. So if things start to take a bit of a turn and you're struggling, we have someone who's there to help you through that. Her name's Susan. She's lovely. And she can often just help work things through. She has some great resources for, you know, retaking courses if you need to, etc. So we have resources. The business library as well is in the Scurfield Hall, and we have a dedicated librarian in there as well for you guys. So that is kind of the main part of our presentation today. I apologize for going a little bit over time. This QR code I'm going to leave up because this kind of shows that you attended the event today. And this is how you are able to get the early registration confirmation. So please do scan that with your mobile device. I'm going to leave it up, like I said. But now would be the time. Again, I apologize for going over, but we would open the floor to questions. I have seen some Q&As coming in, so that's fantastic. Thank you for that. We also have a bit on chat, so I will do my best to kind of open this up and see. Oh, I got some compliments in here. Lots of hearts to you guys. This was really wonderful. We always are excited about you guys coming in. What's the option if you don't use the QR code? Honestly, I'm not sure, Haley, but if you can email, I'm just going to put the email in here for us, undergraduate@haskayne.ucalgary.ca. I'm putting it in the chat. That is our website, or that's our email address. So you can feel free to email us that you attended so that we can kind of figure that out, what happens if you aren't able to scan it, okay? The faculty session, I believe that was this, because we were doing this is kind of the session about Haskayne specifically. So hopefully that, oh, Rochelle is saying she's getting the link ready for you. So she's going to put that up for us. And then let me see if I can see any of the Q&As that I can help with. What should we call the faculty session? I would say something like Haskayne or HSB, because Haskayne School of Business, we use the HSB acronym quite often.
That's right. They're just wanting you to confirm that you went to Haskayne session. So if you say something about Haskayne or
yes,
that would be
Haskayne. Perfect. Perfect. Ooh, thank you. I think we were able to get the link here, so I'm just going to copy and paste it for everyone. Yeah, HSB or Haskayne is perfect. Oh, geez. Awesome.
I finally found it and put it in the chat as well.
Oh, perfect. Even better. Awesome. So we've got a link there. I've also posted one. hopefully everyone can get on there. Then again, I apologize for going over. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It was really a pleasure. We're really excited to have you.